guys, we're super excited to be officially introducing our new podcast. You helped us name it, so let's officially introduce ourselves as On a Real Note. I'm Alisha, I'm 26 years old, born in Seattle, raised in Cali, OC specifically, but let me go ahead and pass it to my girl.
Hey, what's up, you guys? My name's Xochitlh. I'm 21, and I was born and raised in Paramount, California.
My name's Raymundo. I'm 19. I was born in Pomona, and yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Alyzza Munoz. I'm 21 years old. I'm actually turning 22 on the 17th of this month. And I was born in Bellflower, California, but I was raised in more of the Orange County area. And basically what we're going to be doing with our podcast is, sorry, let me get my notes real quick. We're going to be talking about basically how money works, generational wealth, mental toughness. We're going to be debunking a couple of lies that we know we've been seeing around on TikTok and Instagram about the finance industry. And basically we're just going to be going over what our experience has been like being business owners as like young people in this generation. Mm-hmm. So you can get an idea of who we are and just like get to know us a little bit better. We're going to be talking about where our lives were going to be, where we would be going before we got into the into the finance industry, into entrepreneurship, all of that. And then after that, we're going to be talking about basically why we chose to go into business instead. So,
you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, my nickname is Gucci because I used to work at Gucci. Any of my fellow ex-Gucci employees shout out to you guys. Sorry I dipped on y'all like that.
Damn.
But on a real note,
alright.
I know, but for sure, what I was doing before, because I was in college, I wanted to study like the behind the scenes of the entertainment industry because I used to do stuff in front of the camera, like plays and acting like that. But I wanted to do stuff behind the scenes because I had an internship actually for BET. So I did work with people doing stuff for like the BET Awards, and that was really fun for me. So I knew I wanted to do stuff in that line of work. So if I wasn't in business right now, I would either be, still pursuing my, luxury store type of background and becoming like a client advisor and doing stuff like that on that end, or what I really wanted to do in the line with my passion was doing stuff for the entertainment world and pursuing stuff like that and studying under directors, possibly doing stuff with directing work. But yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, so for me, it gets a little more complicated. So basically, while I was in high school, I really liked the whole going into like law enforcement, stuff like that. And so I had a plan already set. I was going to obviously finish high school, go into college for about 3 or 4 years, and then after that go straight into the military. And then from there, go to Quantico. If anybody knows what that is, basically you go to Quantico, you do the FBI training, you go through that, and then you finally do FBI, and then from there I was thinking either stay there or go CIA if I could, because that one's a little more difficult. But yeah, that did not go the way that I planned for it to. So I ended up kind of going into, I don't know if you guys know what this is. It's a VA. It's like a veteran hospital. So being in the veteran hospital, working behind the desk, I would hear a lot about the military. So being like, I kind of went from branch to branch, like deciding, okay, because I still wanted to do that, but I didn't know exactly what to go into. So I kind of went from like military to, I think it was like Navy to, I don't even know. Honestly, I ended up going with like the Air Force. So then as I was doing all of that, that's when I kind of got introduced to the business, and I kind of realized that being in that field, the FBI field, was gonna take away a lot of my freedom. So I would have to give up a lot of time with family, risk my life every single day. And to me, like, family is like the number one, like, it's like the most important thing to me. So I wasn't willing to sacrifice that. And so that's why I was open to something like this that gives me a lot more liberty. But yeah, that's my background.
Well, for me, technically I was I was trying to graduate because I was just focused on graduating high school, and they technically they messed up my, you know how you're supposed to have like certain credits to graduate? Yeah, so they put me some classes that I didn't need at all, and one of the other teachers, they looked and they're like, why do you have this class? Why do you have that one? And so I was like, I don't know. And then they said that, oh, she fixed it for me because the counselor, he's already old and everything. He's already old. He doesn't know what he's actually doing. He does, but he doesn't.
Oh, that's some shade, bro.
I know. Shout out to you.
And because of him, I was almost not gonna graduate. So they fixed my schedule, and once the lady, she saw that I don't need those classes, we fixed it and everything, and yeah, I did my credits and graduated and everything, and then so I was thinking of going to college or going to just work, you know? And I started working at Walmart, and I went to school. I went to school too, so I was like, I didn't want to be at Walmart at all because I don't like being told what to do, you know.
Oh.
I don't like being told what to do.
I think we all know that.
Yeah. I don't like being told what to do, so especially because the boss back there, he was so bossy, he was like, Raymundo, do this, Raymundo, do that. It was always me. There was other people, and he always choose me out of everyone, and I'm like, it'll get me so mad. But I can't tell him nothing because I have
that's
to
your boss.
Yes.
So if you don't mind me asking, if you had gone to college, right? Let's say you did go to college.
I did go to college.
You did?
Yeah.
So you dropped out?
Technically, I'm taking a break.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna go back.
Okay. So what were you gonna do? Pursue. What were you gonna do with your college degree? What were your next step?
I wanted to be an automotive technician.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
So that's what I was gonna do. But now, at the point, you know how I said that I was going to college and doing Walmart? There was this one day where I had enough. I was gonna quit. I was gonna quit Walmart. I was gonna go look for another job. I don't care what it is. I don't care if they pay less, as long as it wasn't Walmart. And then so yeah, that day I went to school. I did my classwork and everything, and then when I walked out, I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit today. And then that's when I met my upline.
Yeah.
My upline. Yeah. And so I checked it out. Said that I could be my own boss, make my own business, everything. And then so I liked it. I joined, and yeah, technically my own boss.
Yeah. So I guess for me, my background has always been to be an entrepreneur. For a lot of people who don't know, my parents are actually entrepreneurs. They do the business with us. So are a lot of my aunts and my uncles. Basically, pretty much most of my family are entrepreneurs in some sort of way. And so for me, I always knew that no matter what I was going to go into, I was going to become an entrepreneur, and literally in whatever kind of way. And there was a time in my life, it was when I was leaving high school, when I was like, you know what, I love people, I love talking to people, I love hearing people's problems and what's going on in their life, I love to help them, right? So there was a time when somebody who was really close to me had asked me, would you ever consider being kind of a therapist? Would you ever do that? So there was a time in my life when I was kind of taking that route. It was always kind of something I was I might do this. I wouldn't do it long term, but I was considering at least getting, that license and everything and moving with that. And if I did do it, I was always gonna have my own practice. I was gonna hire multiple different people to be working in the same office that I was gonna own or practice that I was gonna own, and then other people were gonna be covering different kinds of ways that they help people, whether it's physical therapy or, you know, specific traumas everybody had. Like, I always knew no matter what I was going to do, I would be an entrepreneur. That was always something that I had in mind. Besides that, I think the other route, like, if I wasn't doing what we're doing right now, like what I'm doing right now, I would probably, since I'm always like, I love like getting like the whole like beauty stuff, especially right now with like lash techs and nail techs being super popular, and like noticing and recognizing that in order to really grow your business and like what's basically going to be coming up in this like generation and moving forward, your best like way of success, like I knew was going to be through like social media in some kind of way. So I would have I recognize it now, and if I wasn't doing this right now, I would have recognized that. And I've always been drawn into like lash techs, and there's this one person I literally follow specifically that she's very well known on social media. She's like an Instagram mogul or whatever it's called, she's super famous on Instagram. She has a lot of followers, and she has a lash business, and she does them both, and she runs her business very well, like using both. So I feel like that's kind of that's pretty much what I would be doing, and finding like a way of like using social media to attract people to me, because I'm going to be able to help them and show them like what I do was unique to what other people do. So that's probably what I would have been doing if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now. It would still be in entrepreneurship. So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because you didn't go that route, right? Like we both know you didn't go that route. Why didn't you go that route? How come you decided to be an entrepreneur instead?
Well, it kind of goes into what you were saying, honestly, because like how you were talking about your family, you know what I mean, and how like, because it's like that was your worldview of like, well, it's, you know, well, why not become an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Like for me, like that is completely not seen in my worldview, you know what I mean? Because so when you're born into like a world, I guess, where everybody just is living paycheck to paycheck, and it doesn't seem like it's something that can be for you. It's like, okay, like, because I remember growing up, there's a specific movie, and it's so funny, and I'm gonna age myself even more, but because I know you guys don't even know it. It's called So You Can Play That Game.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie. It was like, it's one of my favorite movies, and in that movie, it's basically like these like two black girls, you know, and I'm not gonna do a good synopsis, but basically the part that stood out to me was the intro it's oh my gosh, I forgot the actress's name, but basically just think of like a beautiful woman, right? And she goes into work, she's wearing, I believe it was like a yellow suit, and she's like in like a law firm, I want to say, and she like walks in, there's music playing, she like is like, the guys are loving her, she's getting flowers, she's in her office, and boom boom boom, right? So when I saw that, I must have been like 10 or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what she does. I don't know what's going on, but I want to be her. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was the idea of a woman in business walking around in like a beautiful suit, you know, beautiful car, beautiful home. You know, she was impactful in her circle of friends. She was like that woman that everybody kind of goes to because they know like, oh, she has her head on straight. And the way that she could command a room when she walked in. And something about every part of that, like that movie and her presence, I was like, I'm gonna be that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna be it and what line I can like make that path for myself.
What's it gonna take to do?
Well, yeah, I don't know what I gotta do.
I
don't know what I gotta do, but that's exactly where I want to be.
That's what I'm gonna be. Like that's
it. I was sold immediately, and that's why even to this day it's one of my favorite movies, because I was like, it's amazing the strength of somebody to do something like that and command a room upon entry. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And so growing up, first, like, my family, we were kind of okay, but then, you know, life hits, and, like, we were struggling very hard. And so the majority of what I remember is us struggling very hard. So I was like, the real world, or what we're told of how to do everything, is not working, because my mom and my grandma did everything by the book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, slightly different because my mom out of high school went straight into the Air Force.
Right.
So she didn't go specifically like to college until like later on is when she was like, you know, taking care of all of that. But still, like she did, you know, X, Y, and Z the way that they tell you to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So I was like, if they did it and we're still where we're at right now, clearly there's something that's missing.
Yeah.
That like we need to do like an extra step, or like because of the way that the world is set up right now, I have to do things a little bit different. So even though I was being told and my mom wanted me to go to college and you know like and I did go, I just didn't finish it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Me too.
You know what I mean? But because it was funny because we did start this business together, and there was a certain part. I remember being in the meeting and listening to your dad being like, it doesn't work, like the typical ways, like, you know, the promises are being broken of how the world, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he gets it. And so when I finally found like a path to be an entrepreneur,
I was all the pieces clicked for you.
Immediately. And I was sold, and I was like, I felt like a weight taken off of my shoulders of like, oh, thank God. I found what it is. You know what I mean? I found what it is I'm gonna do. And it's so funny because even back then, the business is way different than it was back then to how it is now.
You
know
completely
what I mean?
Different.
When you bring in like the social media aspect of things, and when you bring up like, because I'm like in between, because I'm 26, I'm like the last age of like the millennial Gen Z.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, 1997.
I was like, which one are you?
I'm technically, so I was a millennial,
but now
they moved me over to Gen Z. Okay. So I'm technically Gen Z. So the age 1997, I mean the year 1997 is like the start of Gen Z. So I'm like the oldest of the Gen Zs.
That's crazy.
I'm the godmother. But because of that, it's like such a weird shift. Like I see two different sides.
It reminds me of like
right.
those people that have like, you know, their birthday on like a what's that the
gap? No, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the people, everyone who was born in the year 2000. And like they're like, you're not a 90s baby, which like you're not a 90s baby.
Right.
But
they
like,
grew up with the 90s
like you
stuff.
grew up with
it.
Right. No, yeah, like 2000, 2001.
I think we're more like the 2001. Like I feel like we're more of like that transition. Like because I remember using like the VHSs, you know, the VRs, the DVD players, like you know, going to the.
Do you remember that too? Or you're like, what is?
No, yeah.
Like going into those stores to get like the Blu-ray like movies and all that.
Yeah,
Blu-ray was new.
Yeah. It was like
that was like around, I think, like until like 2004 maybe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, maybe 2003, but 2004 I'm pretty sure.
I feel like it was
or 2005.
I remember that, and I don't think I remember like when I was like 2 years old.
I can't even tell you.
It was probably I was like 5 or 6.
I think it was like it was still coming out, but then at a certain year, like they're like, all right, they don't have them anymore. But you're still, because you have them in the household, you're still seeing it.
Right.
Yeah. And then eventually it like swapped out, like just like music CDs, and then like I don't know where. Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, and then like now it's like a huge like shift.
And that shift was so weird for me because I was like, what am I supposed to do with all these DVDs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was the VHS.
The VHS.
I don't know what they're named, but like I'm at those boxes. Like
those are like
Blu-ray came out 2006.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was like 5, 6. I remember that. But
okay, so back to your age.
So ties in, but basically,
that's funny.
I forgot my point.
Hey,
basically,
this is open, bro.
I opened it.
Hey, can I trust you?
You said.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm like, hey, he gave me an open bottle. I didn't say nothing.
I saw him spitting it actually. But basically, I saw that. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but because of the world that was around me and closest in my proximity, I just did not know, one, if it was really achievable for someone like me, but two, how I would even, like, if I were to, because I already know as an entrepreneur, stepping outside of the box, every single business owner has to step out of the box a little bit, right? So I knew, okay, I'm gonna have to step out of the box, but where even, how do I, what box, how, where, direct, you know?
Right.
So finding the business, that's when I decided, okay, for sure, doing the business with my mom was the reassurance that I needed, because as we were getting it done, like my mom gave up a lot of her dreams to do this as well. Like she had gotten into like this exclusive nursing program where she was going to go to like a foreign country and all of this stuff and help kids, you know what I mean? So we had to have a conversation of like, okay, like, is this our end game? And are we going to jump like balls to the wall, or are we going to like hold on to our plan B's and C's? You know what I mean? So having that conversation, at the time I was still working at Target, you know, I was like, you know, not even really feeling college like that. So I started using college honestly for like the classes that I wanted more than like the classes that like
you needed
that I needed. But they also messed up my stuff, which is why I was like very like, I'm over this anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure we all have some type of like school counselor problem or whatever. But like,
yes.
you know what I mean?
My situation was a little different.
Lord. But because of all of that, it was just like a combination of things. But we decided to jump and go all in. And because I knew at the end of the day, this is what was going to be what took me to the life that I wanted and the lifestyle that I wanted. Right. And just like Raymundo was talking about, I don't like to be told what to do either. So I was, you know, not telling people off. It's just that, like, I feel like in the corporate world, people like to use their titles as, like, a means to, like, intimidate you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm like, I don't care who you are. Right. Like, I don't care that you're a manager. I don't care that you're the store owner. Like, because I had store owners or directors or whatever back at Target try to, like, intimidate me with their title.
Yeah.
And
okay, and?
Yeah, no, literally, is that was my attitude to the point where, like, it spread around the whole store what I said.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, now she knows.
Well,
now
what?
she knows.
You're like, now what?
Yeah, like, and it was fine. Nothing happened. Nothing came out of it. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're all human beings. We all, like, live on the same earth. We all want, you know, peace on earth. We want happiness and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, your title means nothing to me.
Right.
Like, what's your character like?
Right.
Exactly. Because that's what really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, for me, it was like, it's a combination of a lot of things. For me, it's like I can relate to what you said about not being bossed around, and I can also relate to you about like having like, you know, being your own boss, you know, controlling your own schedule, doing what, like, making as much money as you want, you know, it's like the whole family thing, you know.
Yeah, the impact.
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of crazy because ever since I was 18, I have always had a job. Right, like I
was younger. No,
from the age of 18 all the way to like, I think it was just like a couple months ago that I've been having like a job back to back to back. But the thing about it is I've worked in like, I think it was like 2-3 different industries, in like, you know, just having a regular like 9-to-5 job. The thing about it is I could never last. I think the longest that I've ever lasted in a job was almost a year. So I've had probably like 6-7 jobs. Like I started in McDonald's, right? From McDonald's, I started teaching an after school program, like for private schools. After that, I went to like, that's when the pandemic hit. I went to like Dunkin' Donuts because they closed off all the schools. And then from there, I went to work at like the VA, which is what I was saying, the veteran. Right. No, you're right. Home Depot. I did go to Home Depot. I was at Home Depot for a little bit. Then from there, that's when I went to the VA.
Yeah.
And then from the VA, I started doing the business. And then from the business, you know, it just things in my life kind of got really hectic, and my head was just like not screwed on right, I guess. So I ended up getting another job. But after you're introduced to a business where you're your own boss, a business where you have freedom of time, a business where, you know, like everything that you want from when you're working a 9-to-5, you know, you want to wake up whenever you want, you want to go to sleep whenever you want, you want to take your breaks whenever you want, you want to, you know, just everything that you have there. Like you there's people out there, like for example, when you were saying like, you know, your boss kind of like picked on you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason they usually do that, is because you're the one who does the work without question. You get me? Like they're just like, hey, do this, and you do it, and you probably do it the best, but they pay you the same as everybody else.
Yeah,
That part.
So that's the thing. Sorry, let me just finish real quick,
Go.
because then I'm gonna lose my train of thought. I know myself. So when it came to that, I was just like, dude, like I'm tired, because I knew that I worked the hardest out of everybody there, but I was getting paid the same as everybody there.
Yeah.
And I would be that person where they would like come and they would like ask you to do this and do that, and I was like back and forth. But that's the thing, is just like, dude, like, even if I wanted to be promoted, I couldn't be promoted because that person was in that spot. So my manager was in that spot, my supervisor was in that spot, and you know, in the corporate world, you can't take that spot unless they're fired, unless, you know, there's a second spot and somebody quits or something like that. So it was like, to me, it was just, I was tired of it. I was annoyed. You know, people take advantage of you at work. Even us as females, like, people, like, there's just a lot of inappropriate stuff that would happen, and that's one of the main reasons why I always changed jobs so much, was because in every single one of my jobs, there was not a day where I wouldn't be, like, hit on in a way that obviously I didn't feel comfortable with, and I would say it to, like, management. They wouldn't do crap about it. Like, that was very, very, very annoying. So, you know, obviously being introduced to this, like, I saw it through her because her family, you know, all she did was tell me, like, hey, this is how I was raised, this is all the privileges that I got, you know, all these things that I was just like, dude, like, I want that for me, but I also want that for my sisters. I want that for my, you know, I want to retire my parents. I don't want to be living in a life where I'm just working 9 to 5 from now all the way to the age I'm 75. You know, like, I want to retire. Like, my like age that I want to retire is like 26. I'm gonna be 22 in a month. Like, I want to make that happen, like, at 26. I don't want to be, you know, like, that's just, I think to me that's the main thing. Like, just having the life that I want to have without anybody telling me what to do, me being, like, my own boss, having my own freedom, you know, having the money to retire at that age, but continuing to work because I want to, and not because I have to. And getting to that age is just like, okay, like, you know what, I'm at 26, I want to start having a family at 26, like, I want to be financially ready, I want to have, like, all that, I don't want to have to worry about all that, you know? And then not even just, it's just a whole thing. It's just like, okay, I want to, and I still want to go back to school, you know, but I don't want to go back to school because I have to make money. I want to, I want to go back because I want to learn, like, about all these things and just go for fun, you know.
Yes.
And also going, like, you don't feel like you're wasting
your
time and your money going to school.
Right.
Like, because I feel like at the beginning when we're younger, we go to school because it's like, everyone says, you have to go to school, you have to go to school.
That's the next step after
people don't even know what they want to do.
Right.
Second, some people know what they want to do, it changes. Then they know what they want to do, they choose to do what they do, they continue with it, then they realize they don't even like what it's actually like, and they're unhappy. And then afterwards, they spent all that money, and for what?
Right.
And so I feel like if you're going because you want to, and you get that privilege of being able to go because you want to, and you get to learn because you want to, versus if you have to, is like two different things. And that's like what a lot of people, like, I feel like with school, like, it's such like a, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good. You're good. Now you're giving me more things to talk about, but I'm just gonna keep ranting.
I feel like you know how, like, it's so common, right, to hear, like, what you want, like, you have to go to school, you have to do this, you have to do that, right? I remember being like 11 years old, and my 6th grade teacher, she had us write a story about where do we want to be, where do we see ourselves in 20 years, right? I'm 11. At that time, I was like, okay, I'm going to be 31. Where do I see myself? Like I already said, you know, like, my parents, I grew up with them doing this. They've been doing this. They've been entrepreneurs since, like, before I was even born. Like, exactly what you described, what you saw, and how you wanted to be that, like, that's exactly how I saw my mom. Every single day for my entire life, I saw my mom. She could command a room, she could command an audience, she can go on the stage, speak to, like, literally hundreds of thousands of people, 70,000 people standing on stage, and she can literally, like, command an audience, and it was easy, and she could teach and educate, and, like, literally people would just follow her, and she had a lot of power. She was inspiring. And, like, it didn't matter, like, my mom, for people who don't know this, my mom is 4'9". For a 4'9" woman, she is small. For a 4'9" woman, to be able to, like, walk in and her presence is powerful, I was like, that's gonna be me. I don't know how I'm gonna become like my mom, but I'm gonna be my mom. And, like, I remember I wrote that down in my paper. Okay, I literally asked her, Mama, what do you do on a regular like day? She gave me exactly what she does for a Monday manager's meeting. Her whole script for a Monday. And like I wrote it down. I said that. I said like, I said I was gonna be like 31 with like twins. My mom having twins. I'm like, I'm gonna have twins too. And I was like, I'm gonna be in magazines, because you know how my mom and all of us were in that magazine?
Yes.
So I was like, I'm gonna be in magazines, I'm gonna speak in front of thousands of people, and I'm gonna be in like pictures, I'm gonna be the head, and I'm gonna be in all these like leadership things. Like I literally put like Women in America and Hispanic American Leadership Council, like I literally put all these things, right?
Yeah.
I submit it to my teacher. I got an F.
What?
She called my parents.
Stop.
And she said, your daughter made up something. She's lying. And like I can't give her a grade.
She's like, that life sounds a little too good. Like.
She literally was like, your daughter's like, I literally said, I'm gonna be 31 years old as a multi-millionaire. I said what my schedule looks like, which is basically just meeting with a couple of agents, talking to them, training them a little bit here and there, right? Well, what we do. And like helping a few clients here and there throughout my day, getting, new business, like literally just so that I got an F. She called my parents, said like, your daughter's lying, like I said, and then my mom and dad literally had to come in, speak with the teacher, like they had like a meeting.
Yeah, I'm like, what they say? Because they
were like, literally, my mom and my dad came in all dressed dressed up, right? Like they're always dressed up, but they came dressed up.
Extra.
Yeah.
And my mom and my dad's like, no, this is what we do. This is what our life is like. She says that this is like her goal is to be just like us. And my teacher was just like, oh.
Ooh, that's a flex.
And she was just like, oh, okay. So she's like, can you like have her submit me another one? My parents said that. I literally just printed it out again. I didn't write a whole, and there was no reason to write it. Like that was what I wanted my life to be.
Right.
I submitted it in, and she like changed. She had to, because like she knew I wasn't lying.
She gave me A+.
Right. She gave me an A. I got an A at the end.
Wait, she said you were lying?
She thought I was lying. She genuinely thought, and it was so different compared to what everybody else put in. People wanted to be nurses and doctors and lawyers and like, there wasn't really many like cops and all that. Most people just wanted to be like, literally like the most like out there thing was like a fashion designer, and that was like one person. Everybody else was basically gonna be a doctor, a nurse, or a lawyer. Like that was really like the only things that other people wanted to be.
Because that's like what people think as like the highest paying job.
Yeah, that's what people think is the highest paying jobs, so that's what they put down.
Got it.
And then, or like for example, nursing, a lot of people did it because like most of them, like their parents did it.
Yeah, and that's just what you know.
And that's
honestly,
what you know,
as a kid, you don't really know about.
You were 11 years old.
Yeah.
No, there's people, not even people, but like, for example, us, if we didn't know about the business, like we would have probably been living in that life
there's
too.
literally,
Not knowing much about like, okay, yeah, I can make more money. And like going on to that, like your mom, literally the meeting that we had the other day, she was kind of like showing us like, look, everybody goes to like college, right, go to university, whatever. You're paying all this money to earn a degree that's gonna pay you. I think the most was like a cardiologist, right? It was like 300,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 300,000
right,
like year, I think.
And it was like crazy because in order to become that cardiologist, it takes like more than 10 years to get that
like
profession,
12
right?
Years or something like
exactly,
that,
and it's just like it's crazy. Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get paid a good amount of money, but how much do you have to sacrifice, like in your years, and like not even that, like. Studying like so long, like all that.
And not just that, it's only 300,000. I mean, I know like to a lot of people, that's not just.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, and then in our business, like people make that in like a year, start making that in a year or something like that, right? You even less, like you can even make that in less a year. It just depends on your work ethic, Like out there, you have to get the licenses, get all that stuff, invest all your money, invest all of your time. All that stuff.
Be in debt with college.
Right, you're in debt.
Multiple,
Exactly. And that's like how many years of your life have you like put up just to get 300,000 like max, right? And then with us, it's like, bro,
even
like,
if it was just 500,000, like,
even if, like, you can do that here in a year, 2 years, and 3 years versus like them doing it in like 13 years, 12 years, whatever, right? Like, if you do the math, like, if you're putting in all that work, if you were to just put in all the work that you're putting in to get that license, to get paid that much here, like, you can only imagine how much that person would make if you can make that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, you know? So it's just like,
well, it all goes down to like, one, what like lifestyle you really want for yourself.
Right, yeah.
Because we are talking about big numbers and big money, but you know, not everybody does want that.
Yeah,
and
right,
that's
that's
perfectly fine. You know, there's people that do want, just like, for lack of better words, like an average lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just going to school and getting your degree and, you know, getting a regular job. And even if it pays like a $300,000, or, you know, like the average income I want to say is around like $50,000 for people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's fine. It's just like, what do you want? What do you want for yourself and for your family and everybody that's coming in? That's important. But it's also like we all have a price to pay. Like, what price do you want to pay?
when you align that to
you
like
know?
the economy getting paid that much,
Yeah.
though, that's
No,
the
yeah,
issue, right?
no, yeah, because
That's one of the
that's the issue. It's like all the bills, it's all the life situations that are gonna hit. It's like how prepared and, you know, how prepared people are gonna be for certain circumstances. And a lot of times, like, I emphasize this a lot with people. It's the ability to survive versus thrive, or thrive versus survive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, growing up, I didn't have the luxury to even think about making that extra 300,000 or 500,000.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like survival mode. And a lot of people, you know what I mean? I only want to say this because I don't want people to like think like, oh, like it's so easy, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, and it's not knocking one lifestyle as opposed to another. That's not what we're trying to do here. It's just letting people know that, like, look, a lot of us are so used to surviving instead of thriving, but we just want people to understand that thriving, in the sense that we're talking about specifically, and becoming, like, getting out of the usual cycle, is a possibility.
Right, because people have like passions, you know. Obviously, we need doctors, we need firefighters, we need all of these people.
1,000.
The only thing that my mindset, the way that I think about it, living in the U.S., bro, like, that's something that we have to think about. You know, everything is so expensive nowadays.
Yes.
So the way that I think about it is like, look, if people were to have invested some of that time doing a business like ours, I don't even want to say business like ours because we're one of a kind, you know, our business, right? In 2 or 3 years, they can be making the money that they would be making in that profession, taking 10, 13, you know, 12, whatever years doing that. And then back to like what I said earlier, like, you know, a passion is a passion. But when you make enough money to live not just comfortably, but live like well, you know, well off, then you can still go back, do that job without feeling like you need to go to work every day because you need to live. Like, you needed the money to continue to live. You get me? How much better would everybody's life be if they were to just invest some time? They don't have to make a lot of money. You get me? Like, they can just make a good amount of money, and then on top of that, once they're done doing that and they've got to a point where it's like, you know, that money is stable and it's reoccurring, you know, the way that we get paid here is like, okay, once you do that and then you go and study what you want to do, that passion, first off, you're going to be so much better at your job because you're not stressing out about having to do this, having to do that. You're going to go in with a better attitude, you know. I'm going to keep it with like the cardiologists and stuff like that. Like, your patients are going to be so much happier because you're going to be providing them a better like service. You get me? Yeah. And then like, you know, like, it's not just that, it's like you'll be getting double that income. You'll be able to live the life that you want to live, and you won't have to be there. Like, you can, on the days you want to go take a vacation, you can go take a vacation. You want to put your kids into a better school, you can put your kids into a better school. You know, something happens and you can do that. You know, there's people that are out there that maybe they don't want to do any of that stuff, but you know, that's when like the whole investment thing comes in. At least have like that investment account so that, you know, if anything were to happen, you can at least retire younger. You don't have to work till you're 70 something, 60 something, or something like that. But yeah,
like Alisha said about the living an average life, I feel like, what's it called? I feel like it's not that they want to live an average life, but maybe because they don't
know any better.
Yeah, they don't know like, well, what to do. Like, they probably just think, oh, go to school, go to college, get a job, and there, you know.
Because that's what you're taught growing up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is what you see.
Yeah, and then the other thing could be that they don't know there's more out there that could help, you know.
Right.
And because if you would want to live an average life, like for a person that's living an average life, saying that they don't want like more, that they're good, like they don't want to travel, they don't want to do this, they don't want cars or whatever, like, you know. And then like if someone tells them, I'll give you a free vacation, would you take it? Would you, even though that person said that, I don't want to travel, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do, I don't want cars. If someone gave it to them for free, they'll take it, right?
Like they'll say like, I have $1 million in my hands right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I can give it to you. Do you want it?
They'll take it.
They'll take it.
But they don't want to do the work to receive.
Yeah, I feel like
Gotcha.
they would, so they can make themselves feel better. They'll say, I don't want it. Like I don't, like I'm good where I'm at. Like I don't.
But it's more but it's more because they don't. Not everyone knows that there's all these opportunities out there to even reach what they want. Not everyone knows that. Yeah.
Because when people say that I'm good where I'm at, like this and that, like I don't want to do nothing. Like there was someone that said that, I'm poor, like I'm just born like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I told him, like, I was trying to offer him like the opportunity. He said, I'm good. Like I was like, you don't want more? You don't want more in life? And he said, yeah, I want a BMW i8. And I was like, well, this is where you could get the money. Like you could do this, and you know, like go up.
Right.
But he didn't want to. I guess he didn't. I think the thing is he didn't want to do the work.
The work. That's always what it comes down to when you're doing this business. Is people don't pursue it, or they get introduced to it and they don't continue because of the work that's necessary. Because the reward is there, you know, like you can like the money that you can get here is for sure. It's not a question. It's not like what if, you know, if you put in the work, you're gonna get paid what you work, you know, like whatever it is that you're putting in is what you're gonna get coming out. But there's a lot of people that are just like, they come in thinking like somebody's gonna hand them $100,000. Like that's not how it works. You know, you have to put in the work that's worth $100,000 for you to get that $100,000. You know, and it's not just like like I'm gonna do this myself. It's like if you want to be a business owner, you're gonna have to teach everybody below you, everybody that you're bringing into the business. You have to teach them how to do exactly what you do, the same way that you do it, right? And that's the cool thing about the business. Also, is like, you know, in order for you to win, you have to make sure everybody else below you is winning. Unlike in corporate jobs, you know, like they don't care because they're gonna get paid whatever, right? Regardless of, they don't care about their employees. You know, they really put you in the worst positions because they're gonna get paid regardless. For us, it's just like, no, like if for example, like I'm above her, right, and I'm trying to teach you how to do this business, and you're failing at the business, I'm not benefiting from that because, like, you know, you're not being guided the way that you're supposed to be guided. But the more you win, the more I win. You get me? So it's like, it's not like a one-way type of thing. Like, it's just like, you know what, I just want you to come in and then I'll make a couple hundred from you, and then you just, I don't care. It's like, no, I want you to win. I want to see you grow, not just like financially, but mentally, you know, like all that stuff. Like that's what we have, like our bucks of the month, you know, all that stuff that we focus on because we care about everybody that's in this business, because we're a family. We're not a like, you know, like a normal 9-to-5 job. You're not just an employee. You're not just a coworker. Like your family. Like that's how it is. So that's another thing that is different.
Well, what also is key from what you were talking about, not only does it depend on your leadership, but also if somebody that I'm mentoring is doing better than I'm doing, then they can surpass me.
Exactly.
Like it has, you know what I mean? There's no like, well, you're like, I'm not gonna forever be your lid. Like I can go past you, and that's that. And that's a key part of the business that I think a lot of people don't speak enough on.
Right.
Because that is like so crucial, is that like Raymundo can come in and beat all of us to regional vice president. You know,
he's doing amazing now.
You're right, and let's give it up to Raymundo.
Like almost 2 months.
He has almost 2 months, and he's like one level below us, right? One more promotion, and he'll be.
And you'll level.
And that's before he's even licensed.
And that's right, and that's huge. Like stuff like that, and that's why I think it's so funny. Like the way that the company evolves. is like back in the day when I was first starting, and like I haven't even been like as long as like your parents and stuff like that. Like people have been this company has been around for a while, but when I joined, like that wasn't really a possibility. Like you couldn't really like pre-qualify, at least in like our office, and correct me if I'm wrong, because
I think you're correct.
Yeah, like I don't think you were able to like pre-qualify for district for the different levels, for people that know, right? You weren't able to pre-qualify to get those other raises before.
Right.
So for me, I'm like seeing you guys come in, like Melissa come in and do that, and everybody, I'm like, whoa, like that's crazy, and it's amazing, and it's inspiring, and it just goes to show that, you know, there's nothing better than what we have here when it comes to other business opportunities. But I also do want to touch on the fact that, like, it's kind of like what people say. Like, some people want to choose a different path just because they want to choose a different path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's perfectly fine. I think it's not always like, well, you don't, like, believe in yourself. I think sometimes, like, I mean, I feel like usually that is, like that is usual. But I do want to say, like, some people just have a different vision for themselves, and they are put, right? They are put on this earth for a different purpose. And you know what I mean? And like that, I do want to make sure that we honor people for that. Like, like that's for sure. Of course. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm happy where I'm at.
Man, I'm not happy where I'm at, bro. I still want to grow.
No!
I was like, shit. I still want to do so much more.
Of course, we haven't even stepped into like a fraction of our potential.
No, we haven't even dipped our toe in the water,
we haven't even dipped our toe into the potential of what we're supposed to be and our purpose. But when I say that, I mean, like, I know for a fact, and like, you know, I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I know for a fact, at least for me, like, I'm where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
That's what I mean.
I literally, like, I always say that. I always say that. Like, there's something that I saw, I think it was Desiree Santana, she said it, and I saw it, and I was like, yes. It was what does she say? She says, my purpose, I didn't find my purpose found me. And, like, every time I see this, like, exactly, because I was literally born into this. God literally said, you want any other proof that this is for you? Mijita, here you go. You're going to be born into this. This is where you belong. This is where you're going to be, and that's, like, here you go. So, like, that's always, like, kind of, like, how I see it. And I wanted to actually mention something that you said earlier. You know how you said that from when you started, it was like completely different. Dude, even from when I started, dude, I didn't even start that long ago. And like, that's even from when I started, dude, the requirements on what to do to even get you ready. Different. So, dude, if I would have gone pre-license, I would have been a regional leader. Yeah, no, and facts. Like, from the numbers I did pre-license, but that just wasn't how it worked then. Yeah, back in the day. And that's crazy. And I literally love how it keeps getting better and better. To the point that where anybody coming in, like, you know how now they're saying, like, dude, to get like full ownership, you can do that in like probably a year. Oh yeah. Like 1,000%. There's people who be crossing diamonds every 2 months. Yeah. And that's insane. So crazy. Insane. So the endless. Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna know what you guys are talking about.
Diamonds, I know. Just know that the milestones and the money and the promotions. But yeah, we gotta start getting ready to wrap it up. I want to make sure we have enough to talk about for the the upcoming weeks. So before we do our sign off, anybody else have a last word? Nope. No. Good. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to On a Real Note, right? We love having you here. We love having you listen, and we're excited for next week. So, you're doing your...
I don't know how to do that.
You're doing your...
Yeah, I'll see you guys Sunday.
See you Sunday.